So the feeling you have when you go out and hunt and kill these animals is a beautiful one.
Oh yeah, always. It's an adrenaline rush. It's hard work. I mean, you've got to get up those hills to see the view on the top, and when you get to the tops, it's definitely worth climbing those hills.
So what's the difference between getting up early and going and climbing the hills and observing the nature as you say you do, and observing the animals and studying them as you say you do? I think everyone could see how that is connecting with nature. I suppose the question a lot of people ask is, why do you then need to go and kill the animals?
Okay, so here in New Zealand, we actually have all our game that we hunt is actually been introduced to New Zealand, and we have no natural pests here. So without hunters, we would have overrun of, you know, your deer, your pigs, everything. I mean, it's cheaper for me to go out into the hills and walk up a hill and shoot one deer that will feed me for about 2 to 3 months, or me and my partner, then go to the supermarket and spend mega bucks on meat where I don't actually know where it's come from. I mean, like animals that I've shot, I've sat there for hours taking photos of them. As you can see behind me, the fallow buck's actually the one that I watched for 4 hours with his girls, and now you can see he's on the wall and he's got every memory with him. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that, you know, my biggest thing is, why don't you just go hiking? But hiking doesn't produce meat, and it doesn't fill your freezer, so...
So these animals, you're saying, are plentiful, none of them are endangered, they're out there. If you weren't shooting them, they'd have to be culled in some way, and you're doing it to feed yourself and for good reason.
Yep, so pretty much if we weren't out there hunting these animals, they would be destroying crop. Pigs, they start killing animals, they'll actually kill the lambs as they're born, they'll rip up crop, everything. So if we released a deer in a paddock, it would completely rip up one paddock. You know, it needs to feed itself. Yep, so we'll have helicopters come around here and they'll do a big cull and leave their bodies on the hill. So, I mean, what would you prefer, me dragging an animal out and putting it in my freezer, or leaving it on the hill to rot? So,
I suppose where people get concerned is that we see other incidents of hunting which could be more concerning. So we know that some 5,000 polar bears have been killed in the Arctic Circle for sport. We've seen images posted online of people killing animals that are supposed to be protected. And because you're taking these pictures and posting them online, it appears to be glorifying the kill and possibly encouraging more irresponsible kills. Do you have a view about those who hunt big game in Africa and do other sorts of hunting?
So funny you say that, because Africa, actually, if you go over there and shoot a trophy, so a lot of people, especially, they hate when people shoot lions. I mean, those lions are actually getting to the end of their age. They're either sick or very, very close to dying. Now, people pay mega bucks for them to be shot, and then that money also goes back into raising their young, pretty much. So each animal that is shot has all this money that goes with it, that goes back into those endangered species.
Hang on, Sammi.
None of those animals that have been shot. Yeah.
Sammi, can I just clarify then? You are saying that you would shoot a lion?
No, I mean, I personally wouldn't.
You just defended it. Why are you defending it then? If you wouldn't shoot a lion, why do you take the position to defend others that do? What's your reasoning behind that?
Because, I mean, you go out and you pay mega bucks for this one lion, that money is going back into those animals. I mean, I'll personally not go and pay to shoot a lion.
I don't understand that logic. I don't understand that logic at all. Just because money's going back, but you are killing animals, you're disrupting nature, you're disrupting that family. That lion is a member of a family. I mean, you may make a judgment call to say whether that lion is sick or old, but it's still part of a family, a lion family, and you're choosing to kill that. That's, for a lot of human beings, that would feel a real perverse, violent way to think. Whether you say you're not doing it or not, but you seem to be supporting that. It seems quite horrific, really.
I mean, what would you prefer? A lion suffering and being sick, like one of us, and can't get the right treatment, or to take one shot and put that animal out of its misery.
So are you going to apply the same to humans then? Are you applying the same to humans? If a human is sick, a human is ill, what do? Just go around and shoot them? So, well, they were dying anyway.
No, well, I mean, I wouldn't go out and shoot a human. Well, I don't want to be a murderer. I mean, these are animals that are, you know, these animals were on this earth for us to feed. I mean, we've got meat in our diet. We need to have, you know, well, personally, I love having meat in my diet. There's wild duck cooking in the kitchen right now and wild pork. I mean, I like knowing where my meat comes from.
I suppose, I mean, you've experienced very negative reactions, haven't you? You've had death threats. Tell us a little bit about that and why you still continue to post the images online, what your point is.
Okay, so, I mean, well, last night I had quite a few after the article was released. I've had people threatening to shoot my dogs. People have told me to turn the shotgun on myself. You
might say, well, I'm born and raised like this, but there's other people that say, well, I'm born and raised like this, and their behaviour may be abhorrent to you. And there is something about the glorifying in death that people are concerned about. You might have very sound arguments for why you do it, that then people rush towards the idea of rhinos being slaughtered just for their horn, poachers killing other animals. It's very hard to control once you accept, isn't it? Once you accept that killing an animal is your right, and you should be allowed to do it whenever and glorify in that trophy. Do you see what I mean? That you might think you're doing it right, but what's to stop someone else?
Actually, I'm a fish and game ranger here in New Zealand. I mean, we apply by every rule that is out there. I don't want, you know, I don't support poachers going out and slaughtering endangered animals that
it looks like
you do, you know, there's laws in place for a reason.
When you look at your posts, it looks like you're the sort of person that would do that. You see what I mean?
No, here we have certain limits for each one. So you might look at my ducks and go, oh, there's actually quite a few there. We've only hit limit once, and that was over summer ducks last season. All those photos from this season, we never hit limit once with the amount of people that we had there. Just because I'm standing beside a stack of ducks, there might be 4 people standing beside me, not in the photo, that have also shot as well. It's not always me, just one person doing it. There's other people standing around me doing it with me.
Sammi, what do you make of the research that is done, and some real credible research, actually, that says that if people as young as you were 16, start off as hunters, as animal hunters, it makes them quite dangerous people as they grow up, and there's evidence to link people who've been animal hunters to those that will then be violent towards humans, at the very least, lacking empathy. And I have to say, Sammi, with all the respect in the world, the last few minutes we've spoken to you, there doesn't seem to be any empathy at all coming from you at all for these animals. It just seems to be a very selfish need on your part. What would you say to that research?
I mean, I'm not going to turn into a psychopath, I can tell you that for sure. I mean, I love my friends and family. I mean, I've got my best mate sitting right beside me right now and her 2 kids. Those 2 kids are going to grow up exactly the way I've grown up, and they're already doing what I do. They know how to provide for their family. I mean, you know, what if one day the whole world has no power and you have to go out into the hills and you have to provide to your family and eat food? But no one else is going to be able to do it. We're
not going to be at that point, aren't we? We're not at that level. Can I just ask you another quick question? When you shoot these animals, I'm just thinking about this now, they probably don't die straight away, do they?
Most of the shots are all heart shots. The bullet will go straight through the heart and then gone, straight to the ground. Either that or head shots.
And you love that, do you? That gives you a great feeling when that happens?
What do you mean?
Well, when that bullet goes through the heart of an animal, like you said, they're instantly dead and drop to the ground. The opening line you said today in this interview, that it gives you an adrenaline rush. Does it give you that adrenaline rush? Does it make you feel fantastic?
I mean, if you've walked 3-4 hours up a hill and you're at the top and everything in you is aching, and you've sat there and watched an animal that you know is going to fill your freezer and feed you for at least 3 months, and you take that shot and it goes down, of course we're going to be happy about it. We've just fed ourselves. We're stoked about it. And then we get over there and then we make sure the animal's all good. We gut her out.
How do you mean? What do you mean make sure the animal's all good? How can an animal be all good? You've just killed it. How can an animal be all? It's too late then to worry about the animal. You've just killed it. How is the animal all good at that point?
well, we're making sure it's definitely dead. That's, you know, we're humane about things. It's not like we sit there and we're like, oh yeah, we'll take a shot and let it run around the hill with a broken leg.
Earlier when you said it immediately dies, that wasn't right then, because you have to go to the animal to check that it's definitely dead. So you were wrong earlier when you said that it immediately dies into the heart. You just admitted now that you have to go to the animal to check whether it's dead. So this animal could be dying in a very painful,
well, you're going to go over and
way.
check it anyway, yes.
Right. So it's a very painful death for these animals.
No, it's not a very painful death. It's a big round that goes through and makes a decent hole in an animal about this. There is no way that it's going to be still alive after a bullet's gone through it.
OK.
Well, look, it's very good to hear your perspective. Thanks very much for talking to us. It's a lifestyle and, you know, the way New Zealand is compared to the way Britain is, it's not something that, you know, we're in a position to do here. So it's very interesting to hear your perspective. Thanks for coming to talk to us. I think there will be people watching our show that will have a very strong reaction to you. But thank you very much for coming and putting your case and explaining the way you live.